like all like a unraveled today. I don't know why I come across it's like this, but let me share my screen and I'm going to show you a video we can watch together. Where the heck would I share? Yeah, share my desktop. Share. I'm going to post it because I was watching this. This was fascinating this weekend. And this is about what is happening in the world where, like, sometimes we, like, I don't know why I even was watching this. And for some reason, like, it caught my eye. I think because there was nothing really going on Easter Sunday. My kids were out. They went and visited, meaning like they, that's another challenge. Like one of the things I'm doing is to have an open view of how people choose, because my middle one organized so that my eldest and youngest would be visiting him in Vermont. And my husband is conveniently away for a week vacation. And, initially the little me, right, like said, oh, nobody wants to even myself. I had like really a good time. I should like seriously complain. But the thing is, when I came home, nothing was going on. So I usually go on YouTube and like research my. And so it said, I don't know whether it's something in woman, check in woman. So this is about a TED talk. It was a TED talk. It's about child marriages. And so that let me, I don't know why I even picked this, but that girl did a brilliant presentation. We'll watch it together. And I will let you guys make up your own mind, okay? Mm-hmm.
How long is it?
I think Sharia, I think it's called Sharia. Sharia in women. She was
in another country?
Iran, because she was born and she studied Quran. Like, she was a brilliant speaker. I see, sorry, like, sometimes God puts like things right in the middle of our I know that I'll be able to get it via my history. Let me see. History. Sometimes it's hard to see. I watch all sorts of weird things. I was looking more for Indian politics. That's what I was like, because it's a big election time in India. The election started April. I wonder whether it started on the 12th. No. I don't know whether it's 9th or 12th. And the way in India, because they have like so many sectors, it goes until May 19th and they'll announce the winner May 23rd because they'll be bringing it to Himalayas for 4 people. They'll fly a helicopter over. They'll do a polling booth there. It's a weird, like,
That's actually one of the other things. I just wrote down a bunch of.
Oh, this girl, Sharia for women, a female survivor. She's a brilliant speaker. Oh my God. And it is 39 minutes. Let's not watch the whole thing.
She was abused and imprisoned as a teen in her native Iran. She escaped to America and is an advocate for women and girls suffering under Sharia. Some of these women and girls are suffering under Sharia right here in the United States. Her advice don't let Sharia spread in America, and let's make America courageous again. Here's Andy Cyrus.
So I'm gonna fast forward so that we'll watch the last like 10 minutes, okay?
Can you turn it up a
That's-
little?
Yeah. I'll
Hi.
put the speaker on.
As it was mentioned, as you can see, my name is Ainaz Andy Cyrus, and I was born in Iran, I know it as Iran. Quick raise of hand, how many of you are familiar with the history of Iran? Okay, we're gonna go over it quickly. 1979 was not capital and OT Islamic. It was a very westernized country. It was run by Reza Shah Pahlavi and his queen.
That's the royal
Reza
family.
Pahlavi was known to be the closest ally to America in the Middle East. Also, Iran in general was known as mini America in the Middle East. He made sure to have all the Western culture brought to the country, Western education at schools and universities. He was very picky to have equal rights for man and woman. What you're looking at right now is a cover of a magazine named Woman of the Day. So, women had their own magazine, and that picture is the very last year that we actually had the beauty pageant Miss Iran. So the lovely ladies who were on that competition. And also, Iran was known to be Israel's ally in Middle East, only ally. In 1979, there was a revolution in Iran, and the Shah of Iran decided to temporarily step down until things would be sorted out. So he left the country on a vacation and put together a temporary government. A man named Ayatollah Khomeini came along and hijacked the country. We went from this completely to this. That is Ayatollah Khomeini with his family.
So I'm gonna
He came along
fast forward.
and he promised the people of Iran free housing, free gas, free electricity. Does that sound familiar by any chance? I know, when I watched Bernie Sanders, I'm like, oh my God, okay, sure. Ooh, we got an American Khomeini here. Anyhow, so he took power, and what he did, the first thing he did was get rid of the Constitution of Iran, which, for those of you who may not know, was the mirror image of American Constitution.
See, you need to understand what we are fighting. And if you don't, so now I'm gonna fast forward. Let's just
Wrap your hair and your neck, rest of your body, show your face and your hands. And that is chapter 4, verse 31. Now it goes further in Quran and brings up the secondary verse, chapter 33, verse 59, where it says, "O prophet, tell your wives," very important here. It's not tell your wives, and your daughters and believing women to wear their hijab, or here it says
this is for rape.
to wear their government boots.
If
So
you
they
are
will be
raped,
known
women are
and not
the
be
offenders
abused.
because you exposed
So
yourself.
here is where the choice comes in. Wear your hijab so you're known as the Muslim woman. If not, you will be abused. These are the choices as far as the hijab goes.
So
Now,
if you don't
all
wear
of this,
the
my
garment,
story,
you
last time,
are
you all have the right to say,
Creating
well, you know,
temptation.
they're
No,
getting
no,
older
you're a
and they're not
prostitute.
doing it so much. So I would like to
because
share
you can
some
be
of the
violated.
recent victims of Islam in Iran. There we go.
This from
I want you
Quran.
to meet Shahparek. Shahparek recently was
This was
involved
the
in
80s?
the
No, no,
revolution that's
Iran.
going on in
She
Iran.
just took out the
And she was one
outside.
of the very first
She was
women who
killed.
removed her hijab publicly on the
Oh,
streets
actually,
of
they put
Iran
her in prison.
and said no to hijab. She was sentenced to 20 years
All because she took out
prison
the
time for removing her hijab. Thankfully, she was able to escape the country. She is safe. She is out. But many other women, 37 other women who were arrested with her, are all going to spend 20 years of their life as prisoners for removing their hijab.
hijab is the garment,
Comes Mud.
the black. She
She is
was
a
murdered.
17 years old teenager who recently has been sentenced to 2 years prison and 80 lashes. Her crime? She danced in her bedroom, made a video of it, and put it on her Instagram. And when I say dance, she wasn't strip dancing. She was dancing to a traditional Persian song, doing a traditional Persian dance. So she is going to face 80 lashes and 2 years in prison as a teenager, 17 years old, because she wanted to be happy. She wanted to enjoy some music, some dance. And it gets more painful. Very recently, this news actually is from yesterday that I received. Meet Mariam Faraji. She is a civil rights activist, human rights activist. She actually worked with me on many of the rescue cases. I've known her personally. And she was recently sentenced to 2 years, 3 years prison, 2 years banned from exiting Iran. And that was because she was part of the group of 5 women who started the White Wednesday in Iran, which was a core white for women. Unfortunately, her body was found last night, and she was burned. So
She said
all
the
these faces.
Quran is Muslim.
Next person,
Yes.
meet Somaya, 29-year-old mother of 2 daughters.
If you don't understand this,
Married
right,
to
we'll
abusive
assume
man.
religion is okay.
One day she got
But the
tired
problem is,
of being
Muslim
beat
is
up, so she
anti-moral.
took her husband around to fight for divorce. And
So
my
what
kids,
we are
my daughters.
fighting is liberal view
Divorce
versus
her if she tries. She will not
versus
be
child abuse, women
Mhm.
abuse.
And
So there is no
she went ahead and filed for divorce.
compromise.
Pissed off the husband one night in 2011.
So there we
He came
lose
home,
rights as human
shut off
beings.
the electricity
Because only
and
men are
poured
allowed
acid
to be human
on her
beings. Women are
as
property.
she was
Property
sleeping next
is
to her 3-year-old daughter. Please
You can
look
keep up to 4 wives.
The daughter's name is Rana.
They threw acid in our face.
Her daughter.
The father did
Both.
that.
Because she wanted divorce.
Rana survived. To this day, she's fighting. And thankfully, we were able to raise enough money so she can get all the surgeries she needs. Unfortunately, somebody didn't survive. She passed away.
Wife died.
Baby surgery.
No, the mother died.
All of this sanctioned by Allah, committed by Muhammad. In Quran,
Because Muhammad
over
was a child
91
molester.
verses says, Muhammad is a perfect example of a man, and you shall follow his footsteps. Muhammad did all of this. So, Muslim men are allowed to do it. Do I say all of them do them? No, absolutely not. However, what we did here for you is we left a bowl of M&M at the exit door. There's one for everybody. We just mixed about 5 or 6 poisonous one in there. Gotta help yourself when you're leaving this building. Now, everyone I talked about, including myself, suffered in Islamic countries, right? Let's talk about Sharia in America. Because a lot of people think Sharia isn't here. Yes, it is. There has been a research, many research, but this one was commissioned by the U.S. Department of Justice. They find out there are 4 types of honor violence going on in America, including forced marriages, honor-based domestic violence, honor killings, and female genital mutilation. Based on reports, 23 to 27 honor killings are taking place per year in America. Those are only the reported ones. Imagine
No.
the number of
Is that
not reported.
Here in America.
Is
Every
it
girl that goes
Muslims
missing
that are in America? That's
never comes back.
See,
Somehow,
the
oh, she went
problem
back
is
to Middle East to meet
inside
family.
what happens in the
Decided
family.
I remember when
Are
there
you
was a
familiar
big
with
thing
Said
about
sisters? Anyone in this room
female
Said sisters?
circumcision.
Raise up hand.
It was on the SB.
2 people.
Yeah.
So I want you to meet Said sisters.
They killed right in Texas.
In Texas in 2008, these 2 beautiful sisters were shot by their father because they became too Americanized and they were dating non-Muslim boys. American citizens. Therefore, I think it's logical for me to say, and Sharia applied to an American citizen.
I wish she said what happened to
We
the
also
father.
had, next there, we also had in 2009, Miss Hassan. She was killed by her husband because she pretty much failed to be an obeying, devoted Muslim woman. There are so many more. If you look up, go to jihadwatch.org, there's a long list of victims of honor killing here in America. Then, female genital mutilation, one of the most horrifying crimes sanctioned under Islam,
They use
is
razor
now in
blades.
America. Ladies and
They
gentlemen,
use razor
take a look.
blades.
This is Dr. Nakwava. She has been
performs in
performing
Michigan.
female genital mutilation to Muslim girls in, you want to take a guess? Michigan. Some of the girls were brought from Minnesota, cross-border to Michigan, so she could perform female genital mutilation
6 and 8.
Oh my
right here in America. Again, there was a study in America in 2013. And again, please keep your eyes on the screen. I know it's hard, but you need to look at these faces. You need to know what is going on in this world by hands of Sharia. So in 2013, there was a research again in America where it says estimated 500,000 women and girls in the United States have undergone the procedure of female genital mutilation
Because
or-
they can perform
or at risk.
sex on children.
Female
See, this is only for men to have facility to access to female body.
No, is the whole purpose so that
In Islam,
females don't have any type
a
of
person is a
Barriers.
A man is a slave to Allah. A woman
Because
is a slave
men cannot
to
perform
Allah.
sexual act on children.
As a woman,
Because in
You
Muslims,
are
they
nothing
want access to
but a
women body.
property.
Mm.
They are here, they are everywhere, and they don't have a choice. Because in Quran, Allah said, until every breathing human is a Mohammedan, being a Muslim, day of peace will not arrive. So they don't have a choice. They will have to kill or convert every single person. So, good or bad, by choice or not, at the moment, our number one enemy is Islam. So I need you to get to know our enemy. I did my best with the time I had to show you parts.
See, the thing that brought me tear. Actually, afterwards I cried. You know.
I looked at it.
Stop this.
Annie Cyrus is the producer of Glass Off Gang, a leading TV web program. She was abused and imprisoned as a teen in her native.
Stop share. We'll discuss. So, I cried like when I watched this.
Yeah.
I was thinking, you know what brought me tears was this is exactly what domestic violence is about. And I feel Islam is like the other extreme. But when we have arguments, my husband does the same thing. He says, "You agree to obey and honor me." So essentially, it is still like, like it is on a mask of culture, but underneath the core value, whether it's East and Western, is male are always thought of as the decision makers.
Yeah.
Decision makers. It doesn't matter. See, like sometimes people get, "Oh, you stop talking about feminism and stuff," and I'm like saying, it's not even about feminism. It's about human rights.
Yeah.
It's time we spoke to each other as human beings. And I feel until every woman can walk the streets without fear, and every child can go back home, I'm not done talking. But anyway, so like I felt what can you do, right? Like I'm not saying like I can solve this problem. But it just brought into my attention how much we have come and how much we need to go. Our fight is not yet done.
Right.
Hi.
That's horrible.
Is it okay if she comes in? Yeah. Hey, come on in. We are just discussing about like things that I did over the weekend and stuff.
I'm just sick
So
for
we
2
were-
weeks.
So she was doing video blog. So we were talking about different like topics and stuff. And I feel one of the problem is we come with a filter. Like for me to have an opinion, like, oh, women is being abused, then it creates a chaos. So I'm like thinking, why don't I not use my filter? So I actually, one of the things that happened in my home over the weekend were not weekend, actually my husband I don't know whether it was Friday. He wanted to go for a walk with me. I think because last walk we had like a fight. I forgot what. Sometimes the fight was random reason. I have no idea what the heck it was. It's because sometimes I feel I convey it in a way to him. He hears it as though I'm correcting him. But I express it in a way that I understand English. English is not like my. Not even my third, it's more like a tone. I use a tone of English language to map the closest meaning I can understand of what he said, and he usually tries not to repeat it because he feels I have to listen better. Even if I listen better, some words he say makes no sense to me. Like, for example, right, the first date we had, we knew each other for a year.
In this country?
In this country, in Marshfield Beach.
Oh, okay.
So that beach glass, that's why I put it. So I had held it in my hand. Have I said this before to you guys? So I was holding it in my hand. It was a teal color one or a green color one, I forgot. So he said to me, "You have seagull ass." I said, "What?" I'm like saying,
Seagull.
so
I didn't know they
I thought he was like complimenting me, but I've never seen him really like say anything weird. And he's like really always comes across a prim and proper. I'm like, but at that point in my life, thank God, my brain is like always a little slow. I'm saying, what the heck is he trying to tell me? I didn't know whether it was good or bad thing he's saying. So I decided I'm gonna give him one more chance. And that's where I'm at right now. I keep trying to understand him. So he says again, "Seagull ass." So that's when I understood his drawl. It became a joke. That's why I collect them. I always think of it. And he didn't get my joke for a long time.
Right.
And then afterwards he thought I was being rude, correcting him for the way he speaks.
Yeah,
So
so
the one thing I'm learning, so I told him, at what point it stopped being a joke for you? He says, whenever you laugh at another person, it is never a good thing. That's his filter, okay? By default, you never. But in India, we laugh at ourselves. You know,
Yeah.
like,
Oh, yeah,
I
we
feel
do,
we are the
yeah.
most foolish person in the world.
Mhm.
So that itself is a disconnect. So what I used to think of as a joke before marriage became a huge issue in our marriage because he can never hear me. But he always says, you came to my country, you better learn the way I live and shut up. And half of what you make is mine, pay. And he says, or what did he say? And shut up and go away. That's what he used to say. Like meaning, go back to your country. I don't want you around. And so it took me a long time. And one day, he says, he's going to teach me a lesson because I was telling him my stepdaughter was having a sleepover. I break it up again and again because this is not comprehensible for even Indians and not for Americans. So he's very nice though. He'll always call me honey. He say, so I was telling my stepdaughter, please don't have a sleepover. I said, it's so humiliating because he will give me time out. I have to go stay in my room. And when he's okay, I can come out. If by chance he's eating, I have to stay in a corner of the room. If by chance he's bothered, I cannot touch his shampoo. Whereas my stepdaughter had more privileges. So she wanted to have a sleepover. And I was telling her, please don't do sleepover. I said, it's so humiliating to have somebody else witness this, She says, it's between you and your husband. I don't need to obey. She's like 6 years old. And it was so humiliating. We got married. The day we got married, Christian marriage, night, he decided his daughter is sleeping on a bunk bed. And he slept on the top bed. And I was locked out. And I walked around pregnant 3 hours nonstop because the mental pain I go through is very, very torturous. But then afterwards, I laugh about it. I'm like saying, and he will never ever say, oh, I'm sorry. He'll say, oh, that's so nice you healed. It's very good to see tears in your eyes. That's when your soul heals. Good luck, honey. I'm so grateful you're my wife. So then, all right. So my kids don't even understand the problem. Even yesterday, so my son is saying, Mom, you always are ungrateful, Mom. But I'm saying that's because the problem is still there. The problem is not gone. And so, I'm so the reason I'm saying is, so when I told him I don't want a sleepover, he says, honey, I'm going to teach you a lesson. Everything is going to be all right, okay? 8 o'clock, you come back. So he called the police and they told me because he called first, he was the victim, I was the abuser. They told me if I knock on my door, it'd be considered battery. They asked me to stay out. So I had to be in the streets and I was paying the mortgage and I had the job, but he knew the rules.
Did you marry him to get a visa or something? Or did you guys
I knew, remember, I was 1 year as a friend and I always thought he was cute. See, the thing is what originally I understood, hey, little nuance and stuff. I didn't understand the amount of, and he's in recovery. He hates me being a recovery coach because he feels I have no business. I have never understood it. So I told him, Keith, I said, at what point will you acknowledge I know what I'm doing? And I actually, I went to, after this police incident, because he asked me out on a date and I didn't want a date. So I told him, either we get married or let's, I didn't want to really, so I didn't know him. I knew him, meaning not exactly as a boyfriend, girlfriend, but I felt he was a straight shooter and I liked him. But I didn't know whether I knew him enough to marry him. See, I had a projection of who he was. He came across as very proper, well-dressed, And I never understood alcoholism or cocaine addiction, addictive habits till then. So I went to my priest and I told him. He put me out. I said I was pregnant. And you know what he said to me? You need to really be very grateful. Your husband treats you very nice. He never beats you, man. So he says, really, you need to be nice to him. And so I called my sister and I told her, my sister says, please, when you come in the evening, put mascara on, dress up nicely, and he will love you. And I went to the church. They told me, come for 8 months of baptism. 8 months of rosary. After 8 months, they will baptize me and they will consider that they'll help me. I went to the nearest AA meeting. And the girl, when she heard me, she says, honey, call me. I'll come and pick you up. And that became my religion, okay? One day at a time. But the only thing is I deal with one demon at a time. And so I told him, I am in AA. He says, no, you will never understand it. I said, kid, what do I need to do? He says, write about it. I wrote my Positive Anonymous 12-step book. I wrote about everything. He says, after my 20th book, he finally said, oh, so you are smart. Because he said, you should be grateful. Nobody, you are not married to an Indian who will beat you and put you on the side of the street. And I said to him, have you ever seen a priest beat his wife? He said, no. I said, have you ever seen an American man put his wife on the streets calling a police? So why are you comparing yourself to a homeless American or an alcoholic Indian who is not educated and treating me when I put the money on the table, I put the mortgage, and you make the rules? But I was in fellowship. My Brigham and Women, my director, they said, you need to go on domestic violence. They said, otherwise they're going to fire me. They said, this is not acceptable, they told me. Actually, it's because of the society I got better. Because the society intervened. Otherwise, I would have left. Because see, I was culturally raised a certain way, so it was okay for men to treat this.
Right.
But at the same time, in India, men contributed to family. Here, he was taken care of, but he had the rules. And every police officer spoke to him in deference. They treated me as, like how you asked, did you marry me for green card? Because they make an assumption that you're taking advantage of America. You understand? So
I feel like he's taking advantage.
But the problem is, instead of saying, hey, how did you connect? Like, what made you marry? By saying this, already at a disadvantage. So the way it works, like, I understand, like, I'm saying, I hope because of me, I hope you rephrase it in future. The reason is, I am like Alice in Wonderland, right? The minute he called the police, I am in Grand Canyon. To even meet his level, it takes me a lot of effort to come up, okay? And when I come up, again, he gives me a task that puts me in Grand Canyon, okay? And I always have to run to keep up with him. And it takes me a lot of trekking. And the first time we met as equal was in Holliston. They had a drug and alcohol society. They created HDAC, Holliston Drug and Alcohol Abuse. They were looking for chairman. So he was on the other side of the board and I was on this side. They didn't know we were husband and wife.
Yeah.
And we met as equal. They chose me to run for chairman.
Right.
And when he opened his mouth, they were saying, why don't you also run? And so that's when he shook his head and I said, I made it. I made it to your world and I was your equal. They didn't even know I was a doctor and I was a regular girl and I was chosen to be chairman. I feel I achieved what I wanted. Like, see, I've achieved more than what I wanted. But what I'm saying is still I'm facing this demon. So on Friday, he was saying, because last time we went on a walk, and he did something, it was the Audubon Society, and I was so hurt. Like, he kind of like would say something weird and like, and it's almost like it's okay for him to insult, but I shouldn't be insulted. I should always be grateful. But whereas when I say anything, I'm commanding him. So I should be immediately squished and punished. And there would be like consequences. And so I don't understand how to take it anyway. Even now we have the demon, but like, I feel it's getting better. The demon learns every day, so like I have a new demon to work with. So somehow he must have gone and addressed, because he always gets his wisdom when he goes to AA meeting. So he'll come back. So on Friday, he says, I want to give you all the time in the world. So let's go for a walk. So I said, okay. And he said, I was telling something, and I said, he says to me, I'm allowed to share my feeling, but I cannot attack him. And I don't know what it means. Like, see, I have no idea how he works in his brain. So I told him, so how do I communicate with you in a way that makes you say that I'm sharing my feeling? He says, some words I say, I use the word should. That means I'm commanding him. So I have to always phrase it as if I were me, or if I were you. I mean, there is like nuances, right? Like I have no idea how to
Well,
speak.
that's the thing that people say, like,
Yeah.
I don't should on myself, so I'm not going to let somebody else should on
So
me
the problem is, right, like, see, I'm fighting a culture, I'm fighting a behavior, I'm coming from very different angle. I'm just sharing it with you. So I said, okay, how do I express this? He says, see, you attacked me already. If you do it one more time, your time is running short. You wouldn't get the walk with me. I said, Keith, so tell me, how would I express it so I'm sharing my feeling? So he says, I will tell how I feel and I'll shut up. I'll tell what I feel, I'll shut up. I'll tell what I feel, I'll shut up. 3 times he repeated. So I said, okay. So he was saying, so what do you feel now? So I said, I was just trying to be funny. So I said, I'm going to tell how I feel. I'm going to shut up. So he said, this is break number 2. If you continue 1 more minute, you're not going for a walk with me. I said, okay. I said, so why do you want to go for a walk with me? This is my next question. Because, see, one of the things is I've taken off all my filters, okay? I've decided when I'm going with him, I'm going to be SpongeBob and Patrick. Patrick has his head cut off. So when it's not plugged in, he would not be smart. When it gets plugged in, he becomes smart and everybody hates him. Have you watched that Smart Patrick episode, right? I will play this for you guys. But anyway, so usually he'll say, what are you thinking? And I'll say, usually when I'm with you, I don't think. He says, it's obvious. But that's the only thing that works. Seriously, not to think at all and let him do the thinking helps me. Because that makes me understand him. I am going to study him. Seriously, this whole year, I'm going to study him. Okay, because I have done everything. I even told him, Keith, I'm going to become a saint. I showed you guys, right? That letter. Did I share it with you? Okay. So we had a turtle.
Yes, that letter, yes.
Yes. So what I'm saying is, like, so he is very difficult to navigate for me. So I said, Keith, then how do I express so you wouldn't, so he says, I wouldn't have even opened my mouth and answered. So you answered when I said, how do you feel? So I told you already, I feel this way, and I shut up. So he violated. So that's when I understood, even that is a command. I would feel what I will say what I feel, and I shut up. And I didn't obey that shut up part. So that's the consequence. So, like, so I'm learning him. So he said, we are going to be on a timer. So I told him, so why do you want to go for a walk? He says, I feel I'm not giving you enough time to speak. So I am going to give you all the time in the world. And you will go for a walk with me. So I would feel I've done my best to honor you. So I said, let me rephrase it. So you wanted to go for a walk So you feel that you're doing your best for me, right? He says, yes. So now I know, see, the thing is, he doesn't want to feel guilty, right? So I understood. So then I said, oh, okay, I get ya. But, I wanted to play along. So we go for a walk and he puts his watch on a timer. 6 minutes, I can talk. When the timer goes off, I have to keep my mouth shut for 6 minutes. And guess what? Each time the timer goes off, he'll have a huge smile. He'll come and hug me because I'm not going to talk. And he will look at me, big smile. And the minute the timer goes off, he'll again open up. So I was trying to figure out, I was saying, because till now, I was projecting him to be a guy that I thought he was. He's a very nice man, but I don't understand him still after 22 years of our marriage. So I decided, like CEOs say, give 3 minute your elevator speech, right? Like you introduce yourself and you will get the job interview.
Yeah.
Have you heard about that 3 minute elevator speech? Like you introduce. So I decided to play because you cannot use smart words with him because then it means I'm very proud.
Yeah.
So you need to be very humble. You always come from humbleness, gratefulness. You need to be very grateful for every day. And you can only do one day at a time. Okay. This is all his rule because he walks AA. Okay. And I also do walk AA, but I have to make the money. I have to speak to people. I cannot be like him, say everything I want and walk away because he has no accountability. I have to work with people. I have to make the money, make him happy. And if in case I don't make money, he says, I can go back to India. Even last month he told me, I'll ship you back to India. I'm like thinking, guy chance. Because I'm the one paying for mortgage still, right?
Yeah.
So, but anyway, he's at a very different space. That's all I can say. So I was figuring out how to make it come out and tell him who he is. So I said to him, Keith, introduce yourself to me as though we are meeting for the first time after 22 years of marriage. I still don't understand it. And it's my fault. I saw you differently. So introduce yourself. So he says, what do you talk about? I said, no, I just want to know who you are. Who do you identify with? Who are you? So he says, who are you? So I'm saying, I asked you first. He says, see, you're answering question with a question. I said, okay. But the thing is, right, you cannot fight this type of irrational behaviors. There is no fight involved. So I said, I'm a mother. So he said, then I am a father. So I said, I'm also emperor, trying to train kings so their kingdom will come, thy kingdom come, thy will be done. And immediately he says, I don't need training. And he walks away. I never said I'm training him.
Right. Reminds me so many ways of my husband.
So I'm thinking, so then he walks and then until the next ticker comes on to keep quiet, he doesn't talk. And he's totally pissed off by this time. And after the 6 second is over, he tries to figure out whether I'm still upset. I decided not to let him play me at all. I've decided I'm going to ace this game. So I'm talking about how my middle one was talking about him, being attracted to his previous girlfriend. So he broke up with the new one. And then his mutual friend connects him with his old girlfriend. And she was saying to him, it seems, hey, I heard you broke up. Are you holding out for me? And he said, yes. And she said, it seems I'm going to wait for you too. But I couldn't finish. So I said, he called her. So the alarm goes off, right? Now, because it's his son's topic, he says, okay, go on. We are almost done with the walk anyway. So let's go on. So he broke his rule. So the thing is, his rules only applies to me, not to his kids, not to his daughter from the previous marriage. not to the society. And I'm the special one. And he even says, you're so special, you need a special bus. I'll always laugh, like
Special what? Bus.
special bus.
Oh, I used to drive one.
I can't stay too long.
Yeah. So I'm going to finish up. So this being said, check in with me. Like I'm saying, the reason I'm doing the vlog is Indians don't understand what I go through because my own family has no idea. And Americans don't understand what I'm going through. And women don't understand what I go through. And usually my kids say, because my husband is good looking than me, they say, Mom, you're not a looker. When I was young, when they were young, I said, what do you mean? They said, the kids on the beach said that. She's not a good looker. She's not a looker. Dad is a looker. I said, okay. But the problem is, right, to create a picture perfect family, one person has to be destroyed and one person holds the power. But for me, I feel I run to keep ahead of him because I knew it is going to be happening with my kids. And that's why I became a recovery coach, not because of my husband, because I couldn't afford my kids to be sacrificed. So I ran ahead. I knew the rules. So now I pull back. I think I got my middle one and youngest one back. My biggest challenge is my eldest one, who behaves exactly like my husband. But yesterday they were having an argument. My husband was saying, he's turning 20. My husband says, either you stay in school or you need to find a job, pay rent. And so my eldest one says, Mom, how do you think I'm going to pay rent? And I said, Ricky, I said, your dad called the police on me. He says, always you could have. But the problem is he doesn't understand. In spite of paying rent, in spite of making money, I'm still in his shoes. I said, I have no rights, Ricky, in this home. He says, you are a moron. You have no backbone. I should have never spoken to you. And I gave him right then the money to go do a takeout. So I see a mirror of my husband's behavior in him because he sees how my husband manipulates me.
Yeah.
And he uses the same tool. So I told him, why are you doing that? He says, I want you guys to have a biggest blowout. And I'll be so happy when you guys break apart. I said, I don't understand that. But then the other kids were saying, Mom, he just mouths off a little bit. He's a frustrated guy. I said, why? He says, why do you even want to know? Some people are that way. But I'm just puzzled. And in this society, behaviors is not a problem. See, that's the biggest problem I'm feeling, is the law screws us up because bad behaviors have no consequences. And the people who suffer are the one mentally, we understand what's going on, but there is no validation. Nobody even comes and says, hey, look at you, complaining. But the problem is it doesn't matter whether you're a doctor, lawyer, or homeless people. This is pervasive in this country. So that being said, I want you guys to share, that's what I'm going to work on. I am going to unravel my husband and you know what? I'm going to beat it. I already beat, the thing is, so far I have come, my way of beating him is, I'm going to retrieve my eldest one's soul. My son's soul, that's going to be my proof I beat it. And that's why I put him on a music school, because the only way you can rewire is through music. My husband doesn't listen to music. He's a loner. He's always coming from a teaching perspective. So he'll always tell me, if I tell him something, he's trying to fix me. Why did you share? Because I give you advice, you never take advice. You're so stubborn. But I'm sharing not because I want your advice. Yeah. Sometimes, I share because I feel it's too shameful to go tell anybody else.
You need to purge yourself.
But unfortunately, he also becomes my therapist. He says, "Oh my God, honey, you have to let that tear go. That is when you heal." And I feel it's like listening to the guy who whacks you, like say, "Oh my God, you cried. What a beautiful healing I did for you." I'm like saying, "Oh my God."
You ever hear, I'm not saying this is you, somebody said it to me once, a dog personality?
Tell me, I would love to know.
Like when somebody has a dog, like they'll kick them and beat them and whatever, but as long as they come and give them a pat on the head every once in a while, they're like, "Oh, okay, everything's great."
Yeah.
So you think I am the dog personality? No, I'm like, I take it the right way.
Think about it, like
For
somebody had
me,
said that to me
the reason
before.
I did it right in India, I was married. It was arranged marriage, and I think I shared. I don't know whether I shared with you guys. We were raised very poor,
Yeah.
so my grandma said that you need to sacrifice her. So whatever she makes us money, you will go to the next level. So my assumption was that I was raised, so I'll make money and put money back on the table. And that's what I did. I went work, I gave them all my money. And at some point, my grandma changed her mind and she decided that I should be married. And my dad always listens to women. Okay? He would never speak up. So I'm a simple man's daughter.
Yeah,
So when they wanted me to get married, he was okay. And then we found out this guy just married me, so he'll please his parents, and he left India. And the minute he leaves India, they told me I'm fit to be only a whore, not a woman, because like I failed the society. At that point, see, like olden days, right? So I said, if I'm going to be a whore, I would rather be in Hollywood, you know. I always have biggest ambition, you know. Like I'm like saying, okay, let me pick up my bags and go find the meantime, like you know, like Kim Kardashian, like you know,
yeah.
make few movies, you know. I had a big ambition, but the weird part is God has a different ambition. So I land in Jamaica, like you know, that's where I was writing my USMLE and other stuff. And I was working for a doctor, and he takes one look at me, and he went and put me in a convent. He says, "It's not safe for you to be around." So I lived in a convent for 1 year. Like, God rescued me. He says, "No way, I'm leaving you." And that's when I heard that song, Maria Carey. I'm a hero. If you look inside your heart, you don't have to be afraid. I bawled my eyes because I was saying, "Oh my God, I had no soul." Like, you know, that really, like, you know, put me together and allowed me to have an identity that I'm not somebody that I need to be a sexual object or a poverty fulfilling object, because I was objectivized by my own family. So I never understood who I was. So when I heard that song, I finally said, "Oh, I have a soul. I can do what I want." And I said, "I'm going to really, like, you know, understand me." And so, like, you know, it gave me so much pleasure when I helped the people. So when I came to this country, my dad was broke. My mom died. So I told my dad, I'll go back. He says, we still are poor. And he says, I'll come join you. So he lands in US airport and he makes a 30-page list. And he says, this guy needs to pay $30. This one, $300. This $3,000. So he gave me like a big list of who all needs to be paid. So I said, Dad, I brought you here not to pay your debt. So I'll teach you how you can pay your debt. So, but the problem is, right, the minute I paid off his debt, I shared with you guys, and he went and married again, and now he's still in debt. And I asked him, why did you do that? I paid off your debts. He says, being without debt was your idea. I never said that. I said, oh my God, you could have spared me 20 years ago. He never spoke up. I said, I left India believing this is what they did.
Yeah.
Come to find out, I was cheated by my own father.
Yeah.
And so I get married to Keith. Afterwards only, I got married to Keith. So I assumed America means freedom.
Yeah.
And so the first day after our marriage, we are going on a drive. And he says, honey, how much do you think you need? So I said, hey, Keith, I said, I probably spent $2 on a Dunkin' Donut, coffee, or $1. That time it was $1. Like, $1. I am a dollaritarian always.
Yeah.
So I said, probably around $50 a week, He says, okay, 200 of what you make is yours, rest is mine. That's how we started our marriage. I used to cry in VA hospital in the stairs, and that guy used to come and say, is your boyfriend abusing you? I felt like, yeah, we'll put him in jail. That's what I wanted to say. But by the time I was pregnant already, so it was too late to leave that marriage. So I was thinking, I'm going to give him so much money. His heart is so filled with gold, he's going to not ask. But when I gave him $2, he wanted $4. When I gave him $4, he wanted $8. When I gave him $8, he wanted, so it always doubled. It never ever reached a place. And when I made so much money, he said, it is very important for you to make money. So he'll hire another AA sponsee and they'll go to Disneyland with my kids together. I am forced to work and I cannot take vacation and he will take the kids. And so there was no end. And finally I realized, you know what, it's not going to end. So I actually switched job and I told them, never tell my husband how much I make. So I'll always tell him 1/10 of what I make. And I actually started taking care of myself and stopped having a joint account. So financially I became more prudent. That's why I'm all this, I'm doing it. And he has no idea what I make and stuff I give. He said after 10 years of marriage, he's entitled for alimony. And I said, that's fine. And that's why a lot of research on my book came. But custodially, I understood what my rights with the kids are after the police incident. Because I learned exactly to give him what he wants. And actually, when he asks for $1, I'll never make the mistake of giving him $1.01. He'll give me exactly.
Give him a penny.
No. I don't want. No. But I'm saying, because the problem is, right, he really means what he says. And if you give him more, he says, one day, right, he wanted me to pay extra than the family budget for his boat being parked in mashed beans. And I gave him, he expects, payout, because he says if he was single, he would have got tax money back. Because I'm filing jointly, I'm making out on him. So because of that, he feels he's owed a little bit more during tax season. So I tell him, whatever I make here, it's paycheck to paycheck. It goes to him. I don't even get any extra, but that doesn't make sense. He opens his eyes wide. He says, if he ever cannot pay me, it's going to be a big problem. He will, really slow his words. And he says, I hope, you get it. It's a big problem. So I gave him, and by mistake, I gave him $100 extra. And he says to me, if it was olden days, I would have never said anything. And because Dr. Doan Philip, he says, I understand, you make mistakes. It's okay. I'm going to not take it against you. So he gave me the 100 back.
Wow.
That's it. So I'm saying, so you have done it in the past. That's what I was thinking. That's the only thing I could think of. I said, here. That's when I understood. So you must have done that, right? For him to even mention that, because it never even occurs to see, you never think about these things when you're in a relationship. And this is after 22 years of marriage. And so my kids think I don't stand up. If I stand up, they wouldn't have a home. They don't understand that. But my eldest one is the biggest challenge for me. But sometimes I feel I don't want to come across as I'm complaining. I'm not complaining, but I don't have a solution. See, it's not like I'm complaining. I'm telling it a million times, but I cannot find a solution. Because domestic violence people said, oh, you need to separate from him, go away. But the court says I have to work with him every 2 weeks, right? The custodially, there is no walking away. And one of my patients said, you can divorce your husband, never your kids.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter whether you're married or not married. The demon is there and it's going to stay. So, like, I'm like saying, I don't understand. But he's really very nice. If you talk to him alone, he's a very nice guy. But I feel personally, it's like, the culture, like, we were watching this thing called American Beauty. Have you watched that movie?
Yes.
In that, this lady will be standing near like a beam, and that stuck out to me because that's the first time I understood him. So her son would be going, and she would not even turn her head and say, honey, please wear your jacket. And he says, okay, mom, and he'll be gone. And I was thinking, that's so weird. So I said, Keith, why is she not like, turning? He says, oh, she's afraid he's going to beat her. Because if she moves that space, she'll get beaten, I guess. So she's like standing straight, so she will follow the rules. But she's also worried about her son. So the guy will be sitting in the chair and watching the movie. And that's when I understood. So he knows what he's doing. It's not me. I actually brought it up to my in-laws, like, my mother-in-law, father-in-law. And I said, he talks funny to me. I said, because I didn't understand the word sarcasm then. So they said, my mother-in-law in the kitchen was saying, in that case, stop getting pregnant, she said. So I think on my husband said, my father's a bigot, he said. I didn't understand what it meant at the time. I think the only reason my family survived is because I was making money. Otherwise, we would have never even had this marriage, seriously. So at some point before the marriage, he must have realized that it's in his advantage he married me. And even now, like, actually I was watching a YouTube video that says when a person cares the least, they control the most. So he has nothing to lose. And I didn't understand what was the enemy. The enemy is not habits. Enemy, it's not finance. It's entitlement and not having to answer to anybody because he was born in a very well-raised family. My mother-in-law, one year, she was giving a Christmas gift. She gave me a gift card for $25. And she bought a jacket for my husband for $1,000. I said, oh my God. I said, that's so generous of you, giving him $1,000. She said, oh, it's only $1,000. That's when it occurred to me, oh, so she doesn't, and she was giving a hug to everybody, and she hugged them very close. And that's when I understood. I was under the impression everybody loved me till then. And that's when I understood they accepted me as an extension of him. And I didn't realize, and it stuck out to me. And so when I published my book, like, to honor her, I went and gave her my books. She finally said, your father must be very proud of you. And I said, I don't think so. Because we don't even talk about pride. My father doesn't need a book to be published for him to be proud of me. Because he's a simple man. He would be proud of me no matter what. But it's so interesting. The culture is so different. I am not able to go past my culture. Because for me, honoring him as a God is my culture. But for him to honor me as a human being is very difficult. He always
wedding vows that you did.
Yeah, but that only applies. It's a one-way boundary. Actually, I wrote about it in Boring Way to Be Happy. The problem is when people are in a dysfunctional relationship, rule only applies one way. I didn't realize. See, when I did my research, this book, It's actually dysfunctional relationship. Only one way boundary exists. See,
First, like
one way boundaries.
Mm.
Because the boundary only applies to me, not to him.
Mhm.
I think you're a great.
I actually, I have gone past because I told God, I said, God, I have a seat with you, but let me figure out humans. I find being human is the most challenging part. Because for me, like, that's why I am a little particular when I see some people have little attitude. I'm very harsh on them. You guys have seen me, but it's not because I don't understand you, but I feel your family cannot afford you. Because I am the other side of addiction. Because it's the pain. Oh my God, the pain they cause. I feel the mental pain.
It's the
Like
worst.
for me, I get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And sometimes I cannot even do anything. I cannot even eat. I cannot sleep. And it's agonizing. But the interesting part is when my Indian family does it to me, it's even more hurtful because they don't even understand what the problem is and they'll give me advice. Like my sister, when she says dress up, it kills me. But then afterwards, I feel they have no idea what I'm going through.
And you can't talk to them about it?
No, they don't understand. See, the thing is, right?
Yeah.
They say, I'm not cute. I'm not like,
Oh my
see, the
God.
thing is, like they come from a very different angle because the demon I face, they don't understand. Because they have not even understood the problem.
Yeah.
When you don't understand the problem, how can you be a solution? So that's why I'm again and again telling you guys, listen without having opinion, like how you were saying something, right?
objective.
What I'm saying is, don't even input anything because it's not because I don't understand. It doesn't mean I can walk out. I choose if I can leave. I even told my kids, I said, I'm done. I could go become a saint. I don't need anything. Seriously, I wear only my scrubs and I keep on a dollar menu. And I'm very, very simple person. But the thing is, if I'm not there, they wouldn't have a home. If I'm not there, you guys wouldn't have a support. If I'm not there, my husband will fall apart. I have seen elderly white male in the nursing home, miserable towards death because nobody visits them towards the end of life. Most of them are divorced. Okay? Because I am their last chance in life. And I did a genetic testing on all my 3 kids. They all were 51% Asian, 48% European, except for my eldest one, he is 52% Asian. So I said, okay, at least genetically I made a
Oh, your
difference.
husband's Asian?
No, European. No, I am the Asian.
Oh.
50 to 51% they were Asian. So their mind is moldable. So I felt, I think I was asking actually, we went for I think I shared this with you guys too. My husband went for a very rich party. Remember how I told you?
Yes.
The mocking thing.
Yeah.
Did you go with him?
Yeah. No, I thought I'd shared with you.
It might have been my mother or my other sister.
See, what happened was this guy was a very rich Jewish guy. So they were all having a party and they invited only 12 people. Keith was one of them. And so they were talking, and that guy said, his cousin was saying, even in the younger stage, they knew he was going to make money. How? Because he had like this other guy had very good figurine with a value system. I don't know what game they play. And so the first thing this guy whose birthday we went to, it seems he told the other guy, you are being unfair. So the other guy said, you're right. I was not fair. So let's divide equally. So then the other guy says, how do you value those? And that guy said, oh, this has these skills and that's how you value them. So what Americans or the controlling people do is they mock you first. So when they mock you, you create a self-doubt inside. So you give out everything. because you want their approval. And they use that against you to control you. So that's how the control works. And I did see, like, the thing is, I am smart, but to learn him, the minute I reach him, right, like Alice in Wonderland, rule changes. Right now, it's a new rule we are working with. Okay, you graduated, so I cannot do that anymore. So let's go to the next level. So this is how we play our game at home. So one of the things I'm learning now is, like, how to engage with him. So I get out his agenda without I realizing.
Yeah.
And then use it compassionately as a mother, because I'm playing his mother. Seriously, like, I've gone to a space where I have to draw him out. So I wanted to be truly happy. I even told him, Keith, I said, if you really want to get married to somebody else, it's okay. He says, no. If you want to get married to somebody, that's not the point. The point is, are you happy? He's
Yes.
very happy, he said. And he treats me nice. But that's the best he could do. So I was asking him something. I was asking him about America. I said, he says, do you know how America was colonized? I said, how? He says, Columbus found us first. Originally, it was Native Americans. So to colonize this area, they let in all the people who were mentally ill first. So the original colony were mentally ill or criminals. And then the second one was slaves. So that's how you colonize. So essentially, it is the people in Britain who cannot stand certain people who end up in America, right? Do you understand the concept?
Yeah.
So what we are doing is dilution of that mental illness and criminal behaviors with good people, right? So that's why we have pervasive behavior issue, right? Because we have no cultural identity. See, America has nothing that says, I am this, I stand for this. So I was telling him, how is America writing in the because they have this dollar bill that says, I owe the debtor $1, or have you seen that dollar bills?
Yeah.
I owe this debtor. Have you seen? Every bill in America has this saying. So it has no value, right? This says here, this note is a legal tender for all debts, public and private. So this has no value. Yeah, this is just a note published that saying, acknowledging that it's a legal tender to pay your debt. So I was asking my husband, what is it backed by? You know what he said? Our word. We honor our word. That's why I'm very particular when he does the 6 minute to break his word. Because he told me one day we were driving and my son has to go to a play date. And by mistake, I couldn't tell the turn he has to take. He says, you're a danger to the family. You're a danger to the family. So I have to literally take his word for word because he's my God. That's the way I play him. And God has said I'm a danger, so I'm going to agree. I said, Keith, I am seriously sorry. Can you let me off? I don't want to be the danger to the family. Even if it takes me 2 days, I wouldn't mind walking back because I'm in that space now in my home. And I said, I don't need a job. I would rather be a mother to my children because that's my first priority. And then he said, don't take my word literally. I said, thank you so much. He said, thanks for releasing me. So that's the first time he released. Then we were married May 1st, 1998. On May 12th, 2012, okay, he dragged me out of my home. But then he said, I would never do this again. I will never put you out. So immediately, he, in the evening, dragged me and I reminded him, remember you told me you will never put me out? He says, yes, I'm sorry. So I went in and I went to my bedroom, sat down for 1 minute. I said, yes, thanks for acknowledging. Now I'm going to take off. The thing is, I play my term, but I make him break his word. Because what he said was our word. Yeah, this legal tender. So I decided I'm going to break him one by one, his own word, until finally he actually doesn't understand what he's doing to me. But I understand and I forgive him every day. Every day I'll wake up with amnesia. Every day. But I don't forget. I forgive him every day. I never forget. Because if I don't forget, I will lose everything. So I have to really be very, very cautious about writing down everything, journaling, so that, like, it releases me one by one, all these, like, false belief system I hold about my relationship with him. Because word is the only thing that was with God, and word became God. So I hold that word he is using as God. When he releases that word, I am released. He's the only guy who can release me. Because I feel if I can play him, I can play the whole world. And that's what I use. But anyway, you guys can do whatever, but that is the space I'm working on in my life. But for me to be a behavior expert or a limbic therapy, because it's not what I say, it, my husband always say, you're healing. My teacher, I asked him, can I walk away from all this? And my teacher says, no. When you become a saint, you become because you resolved your problem, not because you want to run away from your problem. He says, actually, the world's challenge is even worse because you take on a bigger family when you come to spirituality. He says, you don't walk away as a failure. You come as a queen, emperor. So that's where I'm at. So, like, my teacher already said, I have a kingdom. So that's, so for the outside world, I have achieved everything. Even my family, I have achieved everything. But there are some space, even at times it hurts me. My husband says that's because I'm healing inside. My teacher says when somebody says something to you, makes you shed tears, suffering is not a lot. But whereas when you are very happy, that's a true relationship. Otherwise, even in a relationship, you're prostituting yourself. So I don't want to be a whore to my husband. I want to be a emperor. So I have to train the king in him. So that comes out and the demon leaves. So that's what I'm waiting with his crown. So that's a lesson I'm doing. Does it make sense? So, like, when I'm trying to share, it's not because I'm blaming but the thing is, even if you give them the world which they are asking, that's not enough because they never wanted it in the first place.
Nothing's never enough.
That's because that's not even their identity. See, the thing is, I'm trying to figure out who is he? He says he's a priest. He's working as a priest role. And he's the spiritual guy and he's bringing order to our life. But then why do you want my money?
Just like the church, they want everybody's money.
So, like, that's what confuses me. So, like, why? So I need him at some point to say, I was wrong. But I don't think it'll happen. I don't think it'll happen because it's not even in his radar. Like, it's not even, because it's like a blind side. Like, like how you say blackout. Because you don't even understand what the problem is. How can you correct it? Like Dr. Phil says, we don't even label it. How can you get it out? That's why he exhausts them. I even tell my husband, I said, we need to name the demon because otherwise you cannot apply exorcism, right? And I don't know what I'm fighting. Even now. Even though I call it one-way boundary and stuff. But at what point it becomes one-way boundary? Because he says, you have no idea what the problem is, so I have to keep correcting you until you get it. So I have no idea what is he seeing in me that makes him think I have a problem. And I even tell him, I don't understand you. And he doesn't understand why I don't understand. He thinks I'm being stubborn. That's what he told me.
Yeah.
But that's because I don't understand. Truly, I sometimes, like, they will go to the movies, we'll be laughing, and I don't get the joke at all. And when I ask 2-3 times, they say I'm annoying them. Because some of the American cultural slangs, sometimes it's very challenging for me. Because I have no idea.
It changes all the time, and it's
Yeah.
generational.
Yeah, and I don't know whether I'll fix it, but I'm sure. So one of the things he says is, it's obvious you don't understand, so you need to be silent more. That's what my husband new rule. So I really want to listen, and I understand. How do you guys address like this? If you don't understand, what would you guys do?
Try to understand it. Have a different point of view, right?
Like
Yeah.
sometimes I have to have somebody like completely break down, like I might understand what they're saying, but I don't understand how they got to that
Level.
understanding.
Yes.
So I'm like, where did it come from? Like,
Maybe I have to
what are
keep
you
asking.
basing this on?
Okay. So one of the thing I want to understand is what is the intention? That's what I have shared this with you guys before too. In my relationship, I cannot ask. It's like playing Jeopardy. To win, it has to be in a form of a question, and I cannot ask why. Why is a very bad word. So what made you say this? That's the intention question. How can I correct it in future? This is the only 2 words I can use to start my sentence. Otherwise, I lose the game. So it's a very tough game I'm playing. And my husband says the higher you go spiritually, the tougher it gets. That's his answer. So sometimes I say, it feels like I'm so lonely, in this relationship. And he will say, remember, the higher you go, I'm a priest. It will feel very, very alone. But God has a purpose for us. We have to be grateful every day. And actually, you know what? He made me a very strong woman. There's now nothing. Actually, one day he even told me, it's so surprising you don't cry anymore. And I said to him, Keith, nowadays, when people are very nice to me, it brings me tears. I'm so used to Does it make sense?
Yes, it does.
It's so funny in some ways. I go into a shock when somebody says.
Yeah. Exactly right. Yeah.
If you look at it another way, it is hilarious,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But so I always laugh at myself after, I say,
It's healthy.
it's all moron. We are all moron. Except somebody thinks they're smarter moron than us.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna play you guys. Let me share this again. And
We gotta get going.
Yeah.
okay, you guys, you want me to stop this or
Yeah, we have to go
okay?
to my mom's.
Let me stop this.